The world as we know it is teetering on the edge of chaos. Supply chains are unraveling, climate disasters are striking with relentless fury, and whispers of economic collapse grow louder with each passing day. In the shadows of this uncertainty lies a terrifying truth. The foods we take for granted today may soon become luxuries, or worse, distant memories. Imagine walking into a grocery store only to find empty shelves where staples like rice, coffee, or even fresh produce once stood. Picture the panic as families scramble to secure the last cans of soup or bags of flour, knowing that tomorrow, even those might be gone. The crisis isn't coming, it's already here, creeping closer with every drought, every flood, every geopolitical tremor. In this guide, we'll uncover the 15 foods most vulnerable to vanishing first when disaster strikes. These aren't just items on a list, they're lifelines, the foundation of our diets and survival. Knowing what's at risk could mean the difference between preparedness and desperation. Brace yourself. The clock is ticking, and the time to act is now. Will you be ready when the crisis comes? Or will you be left hungry in the dark? 1. The disappearing comfort. Pasta. When panic buying begins, pasta is one of the first foods to vanish, and there's a reason it happens every single time. It's cheap, lightweight, easy to prepare, and capable of feeding an entire family with minimal effort. In times of uncertainty, people don't reach for exotic ingredients or complicated recipes. They reach for comfort and familiarity. And pasta delivers both. Even in the most chaotic situations, a pot of pasta can turn into a meal that feels normal. Warm, filling, and satisfying. All you need is a little water, salt, and heat. Add canned sauce, vegetables, or even just a drizzle of oil, and you've got dinner. That kind of simplicity makes pasta one of the most versatile and dependable survival foods in existence. From an emotional standpoint, pasta represents normalcy. It's something kids will eat without complaints, something parents can prepare quickly, and something that doesn't require refrigeration or special conditions. It bridges comfort and practicality, two things people crave most when crisis strikes. But beyond comfort lies the practical truth. Pasta stores exceptionally well. A single bag can last for years if kept dry, and it provides a steady supply of carbohydrates that the body needs for energy. In a world where fresh produce may become rare, pasta offers both stability and sustenance. Experts already warn that supply chains are under immense stress. Droughts, inflation, and rising production costs have all started to pinch. That means even a small disruption could send pasta prices soaring overnight. What once cost a few rupees or cents per serving might soon become a luxury for the unprepared. Those who stock up now will have a reliable, morale-boosting food source when store shelves turn empty. Those who wait may find that one of the simplest meals in the world has quietly vanished. 2. The global lifeline, rice. If there's one food that unites the world, it's rice. From Asia to Africa, from the Americas to Europe, rice is the foundation of billions of diets. It's calorie-dense, inexpensive, and capable of lasting for years if stored properly, making it the ultimate survival staple. During times of crisis, rice is often one of the first foods to disappear from supermarket shelves. Its affordability and familiarity make it an instant choice for families trying to stretch their budgets or prepare for uncertain times. A single bag of rice can sustain a family for days, even weeks, when other options become scarce. But the importance of rice goes far beyond convenience. It's a global food system pillar, one that is increasingly vulnerable. Weather disruptions, export restrictions, and droughts are already reducing yields in key rice-producing nations. Meanwhile, demand continues to climb as populations grow and inflation drives people toward cheaper staples. This imbalance means shortages aren't just possible, they're almost inevitable. In a crisis, rice's versatility becomes its greatest strength. It can be eaten plain, cooked with beans, mixed with canned vegetables, or even turned into porridge. For billions, it's not just a side dish. It's the heart of every meal. That's why when fear spreads and panic buying begins, rice shelves are among the first to go bare. Rice also carries an emotional comfort similar to pasta. It reminds families of home, of routine, of warmth and nourishment. When everything else feels uncertain, A bowl of rice brings stability. And in times of instability, stability itself becomes a form of luxury. Those who ignore these signals may soon discover that something as simple as rice-once available everywhere becomes the first casualty of a collapsing food system. 3. The survival powerhouse, canned beans. In any discussion about survival foods, canned beans consistently rank among the top essentials, and for good reason. They're one of the most nutritionally complete foods you can buy, offering a powerful combination of protein, fiber, and essential nutrients. In a world where fresh meat, dairy, and produce may vanish, beans provide an all-in-one meal in a can. From a survival standpoint, they're nearly perfect. Canned beans don't require refrigeration, have an exceptionally long shelf life, and can be eaten hot or cold. In an emergency where power and cooking gas are unavailable, the ability to open a can and eat instantly is more than convenient. It's life-saving. But nutrition and practicality aren't the only reasons canned beans disappear first. People understand instinctively that beans offer real energy, the kind that keeps you full and sustained during tough conditions. When shelves start to empty, most people don't think about gourmet choices. They think about staying alive, feeling full, and feeding their families, and beans check all those boxes. They're also incredibly versatile. Beans can be paired with rice, mixed into stews, or mashed into spreads. That adaptability means they can fit any meal, any time of day. And because they're rich in both protein and carbohydrates, they can effectively replace meat when supply chains break down. The psychological comfort of canned beans also shouldn't be underestimated. During disasters, familiar hearty meals bring reassurance. A can of baked beans or chickpeas reminds people of normal times, something money can't buy once the system begins to crack. As crises escalate, canned goods become one of the first casualties of panic buying, and among them, beans vanish fastest. They represent practicality, nutrition, and comfort in a single metal container, and that makes them priceless in times of scarcity. Those who prepare early will have one of the most dependable survival foods known to man. Those who wait will be left staring at empty shelves. 4. The hidden energy reserve, peanut butter. Peanut butter might look like an ordinary kitchen staple, but in a survival scenario, it becomes a powerhouse of nutrition and energy. Packed with fats, protein, and calories, a single spoonful can deliver the fuel you need to keep moving. That's why it's one of the first items to vanish once people sense a food shortage coming. Unlike most perishable foods, peanut butter doesn't require refrigeration. It can be stored for months, even years, and still remain edible. This makes it a perfect emergency food. You can eat it straight from the jar, or pair it with crackers, bread, or fruit to create a quick, calorie-dense meal. For parents, peanut butter offers a familiar and comforting taste their children already love. In stressful times, that kind of comfort is invaluable. Kids are more likely to eat something they recognize, and peanut butter provides that reassurance while also giving them essential nutrition. Beyond its taste and familiarity, peanut butter offers something more profound: self-sufficiency. When other foods require cooking, electricity, or refrigeration, peanut butter asks for nothing but a spoon. It's ready when everything else fails. That's why preppers and emergency planners often treat it as a must-have in every survival kit. However, it's not just individuals who stock up. When news spreads of food shortages, retailers, restaurants, and families all compete for supply. Within days, shelves that once overflowed with jars are emptied. History has shown this pattern repeatedly, from hurricanes and floods to global lockdowns. As inflation rises and logistics weaken, peanut butter will likely become harder to find and more expensive to buy. Those who recognize its true value now, not just as a snack but as emergency fuel, will have a clear advantage when scarcity hits. Because in a world of uncertainty, even a jar of peanut butter can mean survival. 5. The crisis companion, instant coffee. It may not seem like a survival necessity at first, but instant coffee disappears faster than almost any other item once panic begins. Coffee isn't just a beverage, it's a ritual, a symbol of stability, and a daily comfort millions rely on. In times of fear and uncertainty, people hold tightly to the small routines that make life feel normal. And for many, that routine starts with a cup of coffee. The psychological pull of coffee is powerful. When the world feels unpredictable, a warm drink can ground you. It gives a sense of calm, control, and routine, three things that often vanish first during crises. But there's also a practical side. Coffee provides energy and alertness. During emergencies, sleep is often disrupted, and fatigue becomes dangerous. Whether you're guarding your home, rationing supplies, or staying awake through long nights, caffeine becomes a real survival tool. Instant coffee, in particular, has an edge over other forms. It doesn't spoil quickly, it's lightweight, and it can last for years in storage without losing potency. Unlike coffee beans or grounds that require equipment and filters, instant coffee only needs hot water, or, in a pinch, can even be stirred into cold water. That combination of convenience, comfort, and longevity makes it one of the first items to vanish when stores start to empty. During past global crises, reports showed entire supermarket sections cleared of coffee long before other luxury goods. It's not just about caffeine. It's about keeping a sense of normalcy when everything else falls apart. From another perspective, coffee also plays a role in morale. When families sit together, even in blackout conditions or food shortages, a warm cup of coffee can lift spirits. That emotional resilience is worth as much as calories in a survival scenario. Those who underestimate its importance may find themselves exhausted and irritable, the last thing anyone needs when facing prolonged stress. Stocking up on instant coffee now means more than just ensuring your morning fix. It means preserving energy, focus, and calm when the world around you begins to unravel. 6. The vanishing loaf, bread's fast disappearance. Bread isn't just food, it's a symbol of normalcy. Across the world, it's part of almost every meal, whether as toast in the morning, sandwiches for lunch, or a side with dinner. Its universal presence makes it one of the first products to vanish when crises strike. People instinctively grab multiple loaves because it's cheap, filling, and versatile. But there's a catch. Bread spoils fast. It has a short shelf life, especially in hot or humid conditions, which leads people to hoard as much as they can before it disappears completely. Behind the shelves, the real issue begins with the flour supply. When wheat harvests fall short or global exports slow, flour prices climb steeply. Bakeries face higher costs, and soon after, store prices reflect that. In many past crises, bread prices were the first visible sign of inflation hitting the kitchen table. Those who can't bake at home or don't have flour stored face an immediate gap in their daily diet. There's also a psychological side. Bread provides comfort, the smell, the warmth, the familiarity. When it's gone, people feel the crisis more personally. In many ways, bread shortages don't just signal food scarcity. They announce the beginning of real economic strain. It's not just the loss of a food, it's the loss of stability. 7. Power in a handful. Why nuts disappear so fast. Nuts are tiny nutritional powerhouses. They're packed with protein, fiber, and healthy fats, making them an ideal food during uncertain times. A handful of almonds, peanuts, or walnuts can keep energy levels high, stabilize blood sugar, and provide essential nutrients when full meals aren't possible. That's why, during any supply shock, nuts are among the first healthy foods to vanish from stores. They're also incredibly storage-friendly. Properly sealed, nuts can last for months or even years without refrigeration. This makes them perfect for emergency kits, travel bags, and long-term storage. Unlike most perishable snacks, they don't need cooking, heating, or refrigeration. Just open and eat. The psychological element matters too. In crises, people crave small comforts, foods that remind them of normal life. Nuts are familiar, easy to snack on, and provide a sense of control when the world feels chaotic. Plus, families with children often buy them in bulk because they're both nutritious and convenient. From an economic standpoint, nut production can't ramp up quickly. Droughts, reduced harvests, or export restrictions can cause immediate shortages and drive prices up. The combination of long shelf life, high nutrition, and emotional comfort makes nuts disappear fast. When you see empty nut shelves, it's often a signal that people are no longer just buying for convenience, they're preparing for survival. 8. Ocean in a can, the rush for canned fish. Canned fish, especially tuna, sardines, and mackerel, becomes a lifeline in hard times. It's shelf-stable, rich in protein, and loaded with omega-3 fatty acids that support both body and brain health. Unlike fresh meat, it doesn't require refrigeration, making it ideal when power cuts or energy shortages occur. One can of tuna can turn plain rice or bread into a full meal, making it invaluable when fresh ingredients are scarce. The convenience factor is massive. Canned fish requires no cooking. Just open and eat. For families struggling during crises, that simplicity is priceless. Parents can feed children quickly without worrying about fuel or kitchen access. It's one of the rare foods that provide both calories and essential nutrients in a compact form. The market reacts instantly when uncertainty hits. When people start stockpiling, canned fish shelves are among the first to empty. It's lightweight, long-lasting, and relatively cheap compared to fresh meat. Global fisheries also face their own set of issues: overfishing, rising fuel costs, and supply chain disruptions. When logistics break down, replenishment slows to a crawl. In short, canned fish represents independence from modern systems. You don't need electricity or fresh deliveries to survive if you have a few cans stocked away. That's why it flies off the shelves faster than almost any other protein source. It's the modern equivalent of a soldier's ration, built for endurance and survival. 9. Vanishing greens, the fast fall of vegetables. Vegetables are the backbone of a balanced diet, essential for vitamins, minerals, and fiber. But they're also one of the most fragile food groups in any crisis. Fresh produce depends on consistent supply chains, refrigeration, and transport, all of which collapse quickly during economic or environmental disruption. The moment trucking slows, fuel prices spike, or electricity fails, vegetable stocks start rotting in transit. In early stages of a crisis, people rush to grab whatever greens they can find: carrots, cabbage, spinach, or onions. However, within days, those perishables disappear. The next phase begins with canned and frozen vegetables. These alternatives offer long shelf lives and are easier to store, but they vanish too once people realize how valuable they are. The absence of vegetables has long-term health consequences. Diets shift heavily toward carbs and processed foods, leading to fatigue, poor immunity, and vitamin deficiencies. During prolonged shortages, even small cans of mixed vegetables become prized possessions. Vegetable scarcity also reveals how dependent modern diets are on refrigeration and global imports. When the system halts, there's no easy local substitute. Home gardening may help, but that takes time, and not everyone has space or resources. Once the vegetables vanish, people feel the absence not just in flavor, but in their overall health. The takeaway? When the greens are gone, nutrition begins to decline. And that's when the real human cost of crisis begins to show. 10. Sweet comfort. Jam's hidden importance. At first glance, jam might seem like a luxury. Something you spread on toast, not a survival item. But in reality, it's one of the most psychologically comforting and practical foods to have during tough times. It lasts for months without refrigeration, even after opening if stored carefully. Its sweetness boosts morale, especially for families with children who crave normalcy when meals become monotonous. Jam serves another vital function. It transforms bland survival foods into something enjoyable. A spoon of jam can turn dry bread, crackers, or oatmeal into a comforting meal. When sugar becomes scarce, jam also doubles as a quick source of energy. That's why, in emergencies, it's not just a treat, it's fuel. The production side adds to its scarcity. Jam relies on fruit harvests, sugar, and glass jars, all materials affected by inflation, supply disruptions, and weather conditions. When fruit yields drop or shipping slows, jam prices surge and shelves empty faster than expected. Historically, jam sales spike during every major crisis, from wars to lockdowns. People instinctively reach for it because it preserves sweetness in difficult times. For parents, it's a way to keep children happy. For adults, it's a reminder that life can still have small pleasures amid chaos. In short, jam is more than sugar and fruit. It's emotional resilience in a jar. One of the few things that makes scarcity feel a little more bearable. That's why, as shelves start emptying, jam quietly joins the list of foods that vanish before most even realize its importance. 11. Liquid gold. Why bottled water vanishes first. When crisis strikes, the first thing people panic about isn't food, it's water. Clean drinking water is the single most essential resource for human survival. And when uncertainty hits, bottles fly off the shelves faster than anything else. In floods, blackouts, or contamination scares, the fear of losing access to safe tap water drives mass hoarding. It's a survival instinct. Without water, nothing else matters. The psychology behind this is simple. People can survive weeks without solid food, but only a few days without water. Once the news hints at possible shortages or contamination, everyone rushes to secure as many bottles as they can. Within hours, supermarket shelves are stripped bare. Those who wait even a day too long often find themselves staring at empty aisles. But bottled water also becomes something more, a form of currency. In prolonged crises, it's traded, bartered, and stored like liquid gold. A sealed bottle of clean water gains more practical value than money because it's immediately useful and universally needed. The supply chain for bottled water isn't as secure as most think. It depends on continuous plastic production, bottling facilities, and transport, all fragile during disasters. If fuel shortages or transport bans occur, replenishing water stocks becomes impossible. Preparation-minded people always store gallons in advance, using rotation systems to keep supplies fresh. Once panic buying starts, it's already too late. The smartest move is to treat water not as an afterthought, but as the foundation of all preparedness. Because when taps run dry, even a single bottle can decide who endures and who struggles. 12. The foundation crumbles. Wheat flour shortages ahead. Wheat flour is one of civilization's oldest and most vital staples. The foundation for bread, rotis, pasta, biscuits, and countless daily meals. Yet it's also incredibly vulnerable to global disruption. A bad harvest in one major producing region, a war affecting exports, or spikes in fuel prices can trigger worldwide shortages almost overnight. When flour becomes scarce, entire food systems shake. Bakeries cut production, supermarkets ration loaves, and families turn to hoarding. Prices rise steadily, but what makes flour especially risky is how interconnected it is. It feeds not just households, but entire industries. From instant noodles to pastries, wheat is in nearly everything. During crises, people instinctively try to become self-sufficient. That means baking at home, which drives up flour demand even more. One 5-kilo bag that used to last weeks now disappears in days. Once supply thins, even basic wheat-based foods become luxuries. Wheat is also highly climate-dependent. Droughts, floods, or heat waves can devastate harvests, leading to global ripple effects. Countries that rely on imports face the harshest outcomes. The 2022 and 2023 grain disruptions already showed how quickly export bans can cause panic buying worldwide. When flour vanishes, people lose not just a cooking ingredient, but a cultural cornerstone. Bread, chapatis, pasta, all become reminders of what stability once looked like. The wise prepare early, storing sealed flour in cool, dry containers. Because once shelves empty, the cost of replenishing that simple ingredient skyrockets, and baking turns from a daily habit into a rare privilege. 13. The Golden Healer, honey's disappearing act. Honey is more than a sweetener. It's nature's medicine cabinet in a jar. With antibacterial, antiviral, and antioxidant properties, it has been used for centuries as both food and remedy. It never spoils, lasts indefinitely, and remains edible even decades later. Yet despite its longevity, honey is one of the most at-risk natural products in times of crisis. The reason lies in its supply chain. Honey production depends on bees, and bee populations are declining globally due to pesticides, habitat loss, and climate shifts. That makes every drop more valuable. When food insecurity rises, people rediscover honey's versatility as a sweetener, an energy source, a wound treatment, or a natural cough remedy. Suddenly, demand surges while supply remains fixed. In survival situations, honey becomes a prized possession. It requires no refrigeration, provides instant energy, and comforts both adults and children. For those preparing emergency food stores, honey's durability makes it perfect. One jar can last a lifetime if sealed properly. But honey's disappearance also signals something deeper. a weakening ecological balance. When bees struggle, crops suffer too, impacting everything from fruits to grains. This chain reaction makes honey one of the first luxury-turned-essential items to vanish during instability. Families often overlook it until shelves are empty. Then they realize how many uses it truly has, from sweetening bitter survival foods to treating infections naturally. Honey's real value lies not just in taste, but in resilience. When artificial sweeteners fail and sugar stocks run out, those who have honey stored hold something both delicious and medicinal, a rare double advantage in any prolonged crisis. 14. The morning lifeline. Oats in short supply. Oats are the quiet hero of every pantry. Simple, affordable, and deeply nourishing. They're rich in fiber, packed with steady-burning carbohydrates, and gentle on the stomach, making them ideal for all ages, from toddlers to seniors. Yet their very practicality ensures they disappear early during any disruption. When crises hit, breakfast routines change dramatically. People look for meals that are fast, filling, and require minimal resources to prepare. Oats check every box. They can be made with just hot water or milk, no oil, no elaborate cooking. They also store exceptionally well, lasting for years when kept sealed and dry. Oats' affordability makes them a go-to for low-cost nutrition. During shortages, a single bag can stretch across multiple meals. Porridge, overnight oats, baked bars, or even savory oat soups. But once word spreads that shelves are thinning, stockpiling begins fast. Unlike perishable cereals or breads, oats promise long-term security. There's also the emotional comfort of familiarity. In stressful times, a warm bowl of oats represents normalcy, something stable in a chaotic world. Parents value it for children, while seniors rely on it for easy digestion. The issue, however, lies in supply limits. Oat cultivation is heavily regional, and bad harvests or export restrictions can quickly affect global availability. Once the demand surge begins, restocking can take months. That's why oats consistently rank among the first breakfast staples to vanish in crises. They combine affordability, nutrition, and simplicity, the holy trinity of survival foods. In uncertain times, having a few bags of oats isn't just smart. It's one of the easiest ways to ensure that every morning still starts with a warm, reliable meal. 15. The shelf-stable savior, canned food's critical role. If there's one category that truly defines preparedness, it's canned food. From soups and vegetables to meats and fruits, canned goods form the backbone of every emergency pantry. Their unmatched shelf life, often several years, makes them the ultimate insurance policy when supply chains collapse. And history repeats itself every time. Once crisis looms, the canned food aisle empties first. Canned food offers the most important advantage of all. It doesn't require cooking. In situations with power cuts or gas shortages, this becomes life-saving. Whether it's beans, chicken, or mixed vegetables, canned food can be eaten straight out of the tin, hot or cold. It's compact, portable, and reliable. Everything a survival meal needs to be. But what most overlook is how fragile the production chain behind it is. Each requires metal, labeling, sterilization, and transport. If even one link breaks, whether due to supply disruption or fuel shortages, production slows drastically. Restocking shelves then becomes nearly impossible.